Hi, and thank you for joining me on the Targeted West work group conference call every Sunday on freeconferencecall.com, ID Targeted West. My name is DJ Chris, and I'll be your moderator and host tonight. It is the 22nd of January 2023, and I am in beautiful Lodi, California. It is not raining finally. The rain has stopped. But 200 or 300 miles away, we now have it raining bullets and had another major shooting, 10 people dead in Monterey Park. So it's always depressing to see that, especially when it's supposed to be a celebration of the lunar year and the year of the rabbit. So let's hearts go out in prayers to those people that are affected. Anyway, and by the way, I'm not a violent person and I don't own guns. The only weapon I have is my big mouth. And I'm apolitical, not left or right, not violent. I don't spew out anything that's geared towards any violence towards any government or private agencies. I'm just a man in the middle, meaning, middle of the road dude, middle class dude, not too far away from being lower middle class and low class at the rate the inflation is going. But I'm just here to try to figure out why I have the telepathy or the V2K voices in my head. And many of us are here, hello Nancy, to find out why we have the same thing. So tonight we're going to, it's now the 43rd show. So it's 43 calls, 43 Sundays. Tonight we're going to be talking about the main subject of ARPA-H. ARPA-H is the Advanced Research Agency's new health directive, where they're going to take all the leading diseases and problems that humans have and try to take a DARPA approach to it and try to solve them each one using the DARPA method. So I watched some of the DARPA NIH videos or ARPA NIH videos, and basically they are going to use people from the intelligence or IARPA to run this, and the director is from the intelligence division. So why would intelligence people be trying to cure diseases? Now you do know that the which is messenger RNA shot, is a development of DARPA. So is that what we're going to do, is have these new modular built by genetic shots, and they're planning on curing cancer and all sorts of diseases, including, I would assume, HIV and other stuff, and they're going to try it with the ARPA approach and see what happens. So that's your main topic. That's on my Twitter feed. TI Club 3 is the Twitter handle. I use Twitter as my main chalkboard, per se, for all my call information and topics I bring up. I also use it for myself to keep track of everything, kind of like a workboard, in a line, and then I refer to Twitter. I know not everyone likes Twitter, but that's the only thing I can offer because I don't have the capability to develop my own social media page. I do have the website, TargetedWest.com, but that would be a lot of work to do that. So until then, we have Twitter, until it tweets out and dies or whatever happens to it. It's not as reliable as it used to be. The pictures don't load up as quickly as they used to. It's a little bit different. So again, that's ARPA-H, Intelligence Division. People are going to run it. They've got different division managers. They want to have goals to basically cure every type of disease in man's world and beyond, and that's what that's about, so check that out. Next one was through the Colorado group. A guy emailed me and was talking about an ancient technology called SparkGap. Now, spark gap was used by the Titanic and other ships to use a static that goes between two gaps or two prongs, like a spark plug, and they would click, 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 and do the Morse code and go to shore with an antenna on the ship, and they would click, 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 and give messages. And well, Marconi, the inventor of it, decided they're going to market to the rich people on the Titanic the idea of sending messages to shore, and that was why they never got the message about the ice buildup that they crashed into, because they were too busy transmitting using spark gap technology. Now, this person nowadays wants to use it as an overall protection for himself. But the problem is it was made illegal in 1934, and if you did a spark gap of your own, which there are schematics to make them online, you would have interference in all your devices. Plus, you would be susceptible to having the FCC fine you for interfering. Plus, you could interfere with the emergency systems. So what I thought we could do with the spark gap was to make a personal spark gap device that's only going to go on your body. And so he's thinking about it, and he's going to get back with me, and he's working on the technology for that as we speak. And we're using BandLab to decipher some messages that he's got right now. BandLab is a mastering software program you can use online free, and it really pumps up your audio files if you're trying to get evidence. So again, that's spark gap technology, and basically it's a capacitor that's connected to two little prongs, and the spark goes back and forth, and that electricity is put into a radio wave, and that radio wave is transmitted through the antenna like on the ships or through whatever you want. But you can make it for your own personal use. I don't think that would be illegal, or we need to change the laws so that you could have a personal device of your own to protect your own body area. So that's my thought on that. Again, that's spark gap technology. But also, by doing research on it, it caused my computer to crash. So I guess it's controversial, because my computer crashed like you wouldn't believe, but I recovered it. I hope you're doing well. Let's see what time it is. It's 8 after. I'm going to slow down and see who's in the call. We've got Sheila, restricted, targeted forever. Sheila Adams, Laura, Nancy, New Orleans. I think I know who you are. Wireless caller. Second Laura, Jennifer, caller OO, hello hugs, John, Colorado, tranquility name, Huggy Bear, who is not feeling well. Everybody give a shout out to Huggy Bear. She's got a really bad cough, and she's been up all night, and she's always helping me on the call like you guys do, and it's great. And then we got Gertrude. Hello, Gertrude. And so anyway, we're all good to go. Next is the Pegasus scandal. Pegasus is a software program invented by a group of Israelis in Israel, by the NSO group, and it infiltrates cell phones, I think both Android and iPhone, and it exploits it with a zero-click exploit, so you don't even have to click on the email to get it to take over your microphone and your camera. And then, of course, it gleans all your data that you said you do on your cell phone. And it's been used on many journalists throughout the world and a lot of countries. And the problem is with the iPhones is that many very wealthy, connected people do a lot of business on iPhones when, in fact, they can be snooped upon by the NSO group, Pegasus software. So I posted a big fat video on from PBS. It's a two-part series. I posted part one for now, and then I'll come back in a week or two, and we'll get back together in the work group and discuss part two. Huggy Bear has discussed about the fact that you need to harden your cell phone and harden your laptops or computers. So if you don't know how to do that, Google how to harden your cell phone and do that. Follow the instructions, and you'll be happy because you'll make yourself less susceptible to being hacked by things like NSO. I don't know if NSO could get through a hardened phone or not. Maybe so. That's why it's so diabolical and people are up in arms about it. So again, that's the Pegasus Scandal PBS two-part series. See what time it is now. Hey, and Liz is in the house, and Sets is in the house, and Sheila's in the house. C Pal's here, and I mentioned Nancy. Nancy's in the house. It's 11 after. Next, again, we talked about ChatGPT, which I'm sure Liz will probably check out. You can type in there how to solve targeting. Maybe it'll tell us. Who knows? I haven't tried it yet. But ChatGPT, I didn't know the first time I mentioned this is co-founded by Elon Musk. And I watched a 2-hour video with a showcase roundtable of a bunch of people that are very well known in the activist groups, and they're on activist posts a lot. And this group, which includes Jason Berman, mentioned the fact that Elon Musk is not a nice person and not someone you could trust. So, he wants to hack into our brain with this Neuralink system. And I don't think he can be trusted because, as I wrote here, he's a government shill. I mean, he's the biggest defense contractor in the United States. And not only he, but his Starlink system, there's a competitor to that, which I will bring up in another call. I think I did. Let's make sure I did. Let's make sure we did not forget that one. Let's just make a quick check. Oh, I got it. Project Blackjack. If you want to do some research ahead of time, go research Project Blackjack. That is a LEO, low Earth orbiting satellite system that's used by the military intelligence now. And it's a product of Lockheed, I believe. And it's low orbiting, and they're using that on us, I'm quite sure. So that'll be a week after the 29th. I think that's in February. We'll be talking about Project Blackjack. Here's my book. Keep all the notes for you during the week, and then I bring them up on Sunday. Watch out for ChatGPT. That's why I brought that up. Next is Project Artichoke. We talked about MK Ultra before, and Project Artichoke was the before MK Ultra, and I found an interesting video about it. I posted on TI Club 3, my Twitter page, so check that out. And again is Project Artichoke. And let's check what time it is. Okay, it's 1:15. Next is Cop City. Cop City in Atlanta, as you saw, the activist in the tree that was trying to protect the woods got shot in his tent. I don't think he had a gun, because only people heard the gun of the police. Didn't hear a gun before that. And if you're not aware of it, Cop City is a $90 million police facility that's going to be near the city of Atlanta. And people are up in arms about it because that money could be spent for cleaning up the city and making things better for people instead of making a $90 million Disney World type of training program for the police throughout the area, including bringing police in from other areas and selling services to them. So, I mean, here we go again. More police state, more government, more training that is a version of training that is used against the Palestinians with the Israeli forces. The Mossad trains police departments too, and I'm quite sure they're going to trickle down some of that Mossad training into that police facility. Excuse me. So that's Cop City in Atlanta. Go check that out. $90 million police facility. Switch over to open mic. And go look into the screen and see what's going on. Well, we got a good crowd here since last time I checked. We got Whitey's here. Hey, Whitey. Diana's here. WS. Whoever I missed from last time. Hello. Thank you for coming in. Next is someone I had on the show a couple, 3 months ago by the name of Michael Milligan. Well, he messaged me and told me that he is, after we interviewed him about his book Win or Go Home, which is on Amazon bestsellers list, he made the Indiana University best-selling authors list, and they may do a documentary on him. So if that comes to fruition, which I'm sure it will, I will showcase that for him if he wants, and we will put that here and have him back on the work group conference. And again, that's Michael Milligan. His book is Win or Go Home. That's on Amazon. So, yeah, that's cool news. Okay, and now it's time for the TI Book Club. That's hashtag TI Book Club on Amazon, on Twitter. You can join the book club and get my updates on books where I read 100 pages a day. Not every day. That's a gimmick. It says I read 100 pages a day, just not every day. But I try to make it a goal of 100 pages a day. That seems to do it for me. And then I send a little message in the book club for everyone to know what I read, and then give updates on the books I purchased for the book club. I try to buy every book that I talk about first to support the author, because a lot of authors I showcase are TIs, like Michael Milligan. So anyway, if you want to join the TI Book Club, it's bookclubs.com/TI Book Club /join/. And we have a couple dozen now, and it would be nice to have you join us. So if you're watching this video on YouTube or on bitchute.com or on archive.org, that would be great. And you can check out more shows at your leisure. John Hall's book is what we were going to take a second pass at, so I went ahead and reread Guinea Pigs per one person that brought it up that I thought was very relevant, since John Hall just did a video with PAX International and their video magazine, episode 5, so check that out at pax.org on their website and their newsletter. And by the way, I spoke to Derek, and he is going to put my audiobook, the Targeted Trilogy, on his newsletter for next week. And he's going to put the calls for now and the YouTube channel. So I welcome you if you're from Derek's group. Thank you. Welcome to the work group. So in John Hall's book, on that second pass I took, um, he points out that Obama, he talks a lot about Obama. I almost say this is a love letter book to Obama, but that's because he wrote it when Obama was president. See? He points out that Obama was not innocent in targeting. We know that. Obama signs an order to get every 15 to 65-year-old tested for HIV. I thought that was weird. Now it's compulsory to get tested for HIV without you knowing it. I mean, it's weird. On page 125, he mentions a book by Tim Shorrock, Spies for Hire, The Secret World of Intelligence Outsourcing. That's Shorruck. And I have not looked that book up. I don't know if I added it to the book club, but I'm sure I did. So it's probably in our book club. And we'll read that next, because that's one of the topics I talk about a lot, is like I did last night on Derek's call, is that a lot of the U.S. government is outsourced now. Lockheed does all your paperwork, computers, taxes, IRS, all the computers for every agency, all Lockheed or different third parties. Dell, for one, has big government contracts. IBM, many do. Apple. So, it's lucrative. And, of course, that's that. David and Goliath was a good example that John Hall brought up, and that's, the slingshot. You get Goliath, one little David. And I always say, though, it's just going to take one of us little Davids or Davida to get out there and squeak our squeaky wheels and get in some good trouble and get the word out to people that don't know about the fact that our brains are being hacked, our bodies are being hacked, and people around us are acting strange and watching us, following us, gang stalking or co-intel. And especially since there's a lot of people out of work, there's going to be a lot of people free to do that type of stuff. So you're going to hopefully not see that being more of a job for an option for people, as I call them, dark jobs. Dark jobs are not something this group would do, but some people get desperate and do dark jobs, or they go to prison or jail and get offered this as an option for less of a charge, or their previous intel or FBI, DOJ, or military, or LEO, police, sheriff, law enforcement, state, federal, local, whatever, who retired early and on disability or retirement and need a job to pay their expenses and double dip, because that's what some people do, even at the FBI, is they come back as consultants and double dip. So yeah, a lot of things are outsourced. The government's outsourced. You think there's a government out against you, but it's all outsourced. And that was back in the 90s when I started reading about that in Lights Out by Ted Koppel, which is a good book to read. And he mentioned all the outsourcing. That was also mentioned in a couple other books. So that's Dr. John Hall's book. Definitely worth reading. Let's go and take a break here for a moment. Yes, those deer are very, very cute. Oops, that's my cat. Okay, I'm going to go into Q&A mode, but I'm going to keep reading the book club in case anybody wants to talk. Okay, you can star 6 if you want to talk. The next is Janet Phelan's book, At the Breaking Point of History, How We Ended Up with the Pandemic. And One of the things in her book she mentions is how Roundup has completely messed people's bodies up and a lot more things in this world. And she mentions I.G. Farben, who, of course, gassed the Jews, and and gays, and broke into Sanofi LSD. I don't know what that means. But Bayer, AGFA, and BASF were all companies off of I.G. Farben, who was broken up after we discovered they were making gas for Jews and other dissidents in the Nazi war. And she brings up Sanofi as LSD. That was used by the CIA. They were the original makers of the LSD. And then in chapter 11 on Janet Phelan's book, which we are planning to have on the call soon. She's got some computer issues, but will join us for a session. So be on the lookout for a future call of TargetedWest.com with Janet Phelan. And this is her book I'm talking about. Chapter 11 is Genetic Weapons. Do you know that Obama and Hillary Clinton have their DNA wiped off when they go to an embassy or somewhere? They have all their DNA erased. So what do they know about DNA resonance and DNA hacking? They must know something about it, because the book mentions that they can make a designer drug to go after a certain race or a certain type of person, and that is not unheard of. So they're wiping their own DNA completely clean of any party or situation they're at. Next is, and they attack the melanin in black people to try to kill them. And there was actually someone in Africa that they put in prison who was actually actively looking for a way to erase black people out of Africa.
Hi, DJ Chris. This is Steve Hammond in New Orleans.
Hello, Stephen. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm my first time hearing your call, and I'm glad I'm here, and I like it so far. I got the news about the video about the lawsuit kind of late, and I haven't gotten to see it, and I was hoping you could give us a review of what was said from Miss Anna.
Well, I know there's a Targeted Justice has a lawsuit going, and I put a link. Yeah,
that's the one.
Right, and
it's
Targeted Justice. Did I see what video?
The video that they put out, or that you sent me the link for. I hadn't gotten to see I just heard a few words, and then I had to come over to your show, and figured you saw the video of what she talked about.
Who was talking about? Who was talking on what video? Oh, I don't.
The lawsuit.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I have not seen that video. I just I just read the website and reported it on. But if you have that video, I would wish you could send it to me, so I can take a look at it tomorrow. Because I would like to talk about the lawsuit. It's for $1.3 or $1.6 billion. It involves Karen Stewart and a few others, and it is directed at the DOJ and Homeland Security, and it's a revised lawsuit. So it's been updated as of, I think, the 13th of January, and it's been filed. So, yeah, I put the link on my Twitter page, and it's on Targeted Justice's website. TargetedJustice.com has it on their site under lawsuit. It's the second option on the top screen in the middle. So how are you, Stephen? How are you, Stephen? How are you coping?
I'm coping pretty good. I heard on one of the shows, I think Frank's, about the company Happy Hippo, a strange little company, and the people were talking about the cranium, I think it is. I have the packet next to me. Well, it's like a tea of some type of cranium. Well, anyway, I looked them up during the show, and when the site came on, it said it was going to send me some free cranium. And I'm like, okay. So I signed up for it, and believe it or not, it came. And I tried it today, and wow, a lot of energy. You know how most of us have a lot of incapacitation from the Deweys, the different frequencies that they send us, and this has woke me up. Now I do have to admit that every day I do take a half a spoonful of cinnamon, cayenne pepper, bee pollen, uh, honey, apple cider vinegar, all the natural stuff. And but anyway, I took this, I put it and made it with some tea, and it's been quite amazing. A lot more alert.
What did you order that they sent you that gave you? I think you said energy.
Cranium. It's in my kitchen. Let me go and get
kratom?
it. Yeah, kratom. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, and they sent me two free packets with 6 doses each in it. You know, of course, they want you to buy it in the future, and you know, I just might. I've done the first pack just about. Well, I spread it out in bottles to have it for the 6 doses, and I took my first one today, and I'm like.
And so the energy that you got from this is unusual for you? Is that what you're saying? An extra dose of energy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because of the serious incapacitation that the Deweys give, and you know, I know for a fact that I've been incapacitated at one point for a year. I woke up from it, and my whole beard was full gray, you know, and I didn't even realize, you know. Oh God! But getting back to the video, I'm going to try to send it to you. You know, but it might actually play on my phone. The audio, it's just her sitting there looking at you and talking. Do you want me to try to see if I can play it right now, Mr. Chris?
No, why don't you go and send it to me, and I'll go ahead and discuss it. Yeah. But I'm not. By the way, I'm not a fan of kratom, but more power to you if you want to try it. Yeah, they have it here at the they have it at the head shop over here around the corner.
Well, I mean, I just I don't know anything about it really, and
I would do a little research on the internet. Yeah, it's a good drug to get people off of opiates. And
I'm not on anything. I don't even.
Yeah, but it does give you energy, and it's. I'm just not a fan of it. But more power to you. Thank you for reporting that.
Well,
but please send me that video.
I did hear that I'll send you the video. I did hear it is. You do have to be careful with it, whatever, because it's. You know. So yeah, I will be careful with it. But you know, this is the first day, and I'm alert and getting more done than I've done in months. The other advice I got right before that, it's a strange advice, but it worked, is on James's show, someone mentioned, and James was saying he agreed with it, is that to play the music you listened to when you were a teenager, just to put it on and crank it up in your house, and it gives you a whole different, better mindset, and it brings you back, and you know, it did all that. I was moving all around.
It works for me, but please don't judge me. But when I was a teenager, disco was the popular music, and I'm a DJ, and all my music has disco influence. So you're correct. The music really cheers me up when it's from the disco era, and the funk, and that 70s groove, and Laurel Canyon.
I'm 56, so
I'm
I grew up with the
62.
Stones and
Yeah, I grew up with the
Stones and
Stones and
Zeppelin
all
and
that. Yeah, rock and roll and the disco,
exactly.
and I listened to all of it. But the disco was real popular when I was a teen, and that was my secret
Yeah,
escape.
yeah. Well, it did wonders for me too. So hopefully that helps some of our TIs out there that want to try, just to get a little boost and try to shake off, the things that are happening to us with, and if they're going to try the cranium, like I said, I got it free, it, unexpected, just tiny little packets in the mail. In the mail, it wasn't like a box or anything, and it's just, put a half a teaspoon or whatever in your cheek, and but yeah, everyone's got to judge it themselves, and
I agree.
that I
Hey,
know now that I know
oh yeah, Steve, did you
that
hear about the Zelle B of A glitch where all the B of A customers had money missing? I had that written down here. Did you see that? That craziness?
no, what do you mean?
Yeah, all the
Oh,
B
the
of A
Zelle money. Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah, I'm not going to put a dime anywhere
Isn't that
near that.
scary that they have so much control over our money now, and the B of A
Yeah,
wouldn't give you an answer, and I could see that, not getting an
did you see
answer.
that? You say if you had 10,000 in the bank, and then the next day you go to it, and it says zero. Yeah, I have some things that happened. Well, I can't get into it. It gets into the law cases. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
it can
We have
happen
that
with
same thing
large sums.
happening. Yeah, the money disappears. I know. Or they get you to spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
They get you to influence you to spend the money like they did with me. Because I used to be
Right, right. With the
I was a landlord, and I had to
Me
go
too.
own
10
my own
years.
house, and now I live in a camper. So I was completely asset stripped.
Mm-hmm. I've got it. Yeah, I know exactly. I'm sitting in a house that is getting ready for foreclosure for the taxes, and I have my fourplex next door, which I think is going to be foreclosed on, and I'm dealing with my mom's going to get foreclosed on, and I'm struggling like a lot of people, and doing my best to not be living out my car like I hear a lot of our people are. And
Get an RV before
so,
it's too get an RV before it's too
oh,
late.
yeah,
Seriously,
but
that's
the
what I
main
did.
thing that helps me is the prayer. I was born Catholic, first went to fifth grade, and I just say a lot of All Fathers, and I really feel like the Lord lately has he's listening to millions of voices talk to him and praying, but I've been doing the right thing for a good long time now, and I really believe he's got me in his hand, and he's kind of overlooking everything that's happening, and making sure that I get salvation in different ways.
Well, I'm a
That little
Christian.
sound was my.
I'm also a Christian, and I believe in God. And this is a Sabbath call, and we are very spiritual here. So we will pray for you, my friends. That is some terrible
Thank
news
you
to
so
hear.
much.
God bless you. I hope He fulfills all of your needs to get through this. Trust me, you'll need it, and He's there for you.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. My perp was my mom's next door neighbor, and a 45-year friend, a police officer, detective of homicide and fugitive apprehension. And his job every day, as I found out later, was to work with surveillance teams that would infiltrate the places that these fugitives would live, and put in cameras, the secret cameras and audio. So I'm dealing. That's the kind of guy I'm dealing with, and I've got evidence of criminal things that have happened to my family and the neighborhood. It really looks like he's been experimenting on our neighborhood and taking people out. Because if you know about the Deweys and you know how they work, they aim them, the machinery, they aim them out the window, and they have to hit your window to engulf your home with this electromagnetic microwave pulse. And then it'll work even better on you if they shoot it through the window and they see you. If they see you, you got to remember it's a directed energy weapon, and it is when he hit me before I learned that I needed to cover my windows. He hit me at one point and gave me a heart attack in the middle of the living room, and I couldn't figure out what had did it until later on. But I have a great deal of evidence, and then it also, you know how you've seen pictures of people's legs that have been constantly hit. I've seen bunches of them on the different sites. Well, I know that's what happened to my dad, sitting on his sofa looking at TV. He wore shorts every day, and looking at it for over the years, that bastard next door was hitting his legs. And then later on, my dad used to repair stereos and radios for 35 years, but then he got older and that business went under, so he started selling insurance. Went and got his license and started selling insurance on the phone. And do you know this guy next door started hitting his mouth and giving him lesions? He couldn't speak without going, oh, because it was so painful. I mean, this, oh my God. And it dumbfounds you, as you know, with the brain fog and all the things that I've seen over the years. And at one point, I even saw he had a shotgun mic pointed at my kitchen, at my mom's kitchen window, sitting on a tripod. I saw the shade flip around in the garage next door to where my mom's window was. Oh my goodness! But I mean, this is the evidence he already knows I have, but I have so much more. It's pretty scary to him, and so I'm under 24-hour surveillance. There's no doubt. I have someone always following me. You know, I do everything from taking my battery out of my phone, and I make quick decisions on where I'm going to go, and I also have alternative places that I use that if I need to do things because of the tracking and if he knows where I'm going, you know, something could happen to me, which, you know, whatever I'm trying to do will be foiled in some kind of way. Oh, extremely devious. It's just a nightmare. But I'm different in the way of what the rest of the targeters, or most of them, is that I know my target. I know him, and I know that he's doing it, what he's doing, how he's doing it, and you know, it's a giant challenge. But he fucked with the wrong guy. He put my mom in a home, and you know, illegally, and you know, that's what got me started on this back in December of 2014. And then it took me to figure out about the electromagnetic microwave pulse machines. It took me until 2019, about February, when they put my mom away. I finally figured out, because I knew that he was listening to the house with his surveillance equipment, but I figured out the electromagnetic microwave pulses, because the tendonitis was so loud I couldn't believe it. I'd sit there near the kitchen and kitchen in the den, also in a lounge chair, and the window's right next to me, and then there's his house in the window, and he was that close, and that's why until I figured it out, I moved everything. But what happened one day is I needed to move some fences outside the house because I was trying to block him more, and I could never figure out why I didn't have the energy.
Can we find out what HC? Did you have a question?
No, I was just rolling with my story.
Yeah,
but
I was just curious.
It's cool.
What state is he in? What state is Stephen in?
Louisiana. I'm in Louisiana.
That's it. Carry on.
But I wanted to finish up the thing that happened that I realized it was a directed energy weapon is I went outside to get a tool and I didn't have a shirt on. And I'm looking at one of the bedroom windows and I see the blind lift up, his glasses, his eyes light up, and then a handheld directed energy weapon pointed at me, had a bronze button on it. And I started to feel something, so I zigzagged away. I grabbed my tool and I zigzagged back. But when I got in the house, my veins, all the way from my legs, all over my chest and my neck, started to bulge out. It was so scary. I took a bunch of pictures of it, and very scary. And then I realized. It's. Go ahead.
What was the distance when he did that? When you saw the weapon and he shot you when you were outside? What was the distance between him and you at that point?
It was about when he first hit me. It was say about 25 feet, and then dumb me went towards it, where I was about 10 feet, and then I ran back. And now there was another time. They put one across the street behind this house, in front of the street. Okay, not across the street, and then the house right behind it. They put one in a vent on top of the house and put some black, mesh around it to cover it. And I noticed I could feel what was happening. And I knew where it was somewhere, so I went outside with my phone there out the front door, searching for it. And I figured out where it was, and I was then I stood back about 15 feet from my mom's front door, and they were able to zap me hard enough that it jolted me back. And I'm like, damn, they got... So, that's some of my serious experiences that... They know.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
All right.
Well, did you have any more questions for him?
No,
I think she's good.
He's just confirming everything that a lot of us know. Thank you. Keep
okay.
Whatever.
Carry on. Bless you all. Thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, no problem. Well, my targeting, Stephen, started with a prosecutor from the district attorney's office, a recovering alcoholic, and he was involved in AA, and I didn't like my cannabis use and didn't like the neighbors drinking and didn't like anything going on the street. He rented the house from our friends, neighbors, and we were all homeowners, but he would just coveted everything we had and everything we did. He watched, and he was a miserable soul with a big bloated belly, and tortured me, and he got the sheriffs involved in my case, and they were going to do a civil forfeiture and take my home, and it didn't happen because I got wise real quick, and he ended up dying. So I know who did it to me, but he passed away, so I got vengeance. Unfortunately, I hate to talk like that, but that's how it happened with me, Stephen.
Mr. Chris, can I tell you what? There has been some karma that has happened to this 75-year-old semi-retired.
75 years old, he ain't going to last long. Tell me what happened to him. I knew it. Karma's good.
What happened to him is that he's been holding this machine for so long at people, the different ones, that it took out his whole midsection. He's got no testicles and there's like 4 buttons on the back of where his butt is, and it's done really destroyed him bad. The targeters that are doing this to us don't realize that so much radiation is coming out of the machines they're using.
It's called blowback. It's blowback.
It's affecting them.
Yeah, radar machines they use in the police do the same thing. It's blowback.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, maybe they'll be thinking twice about hitting us and standing around with the damn thing. But that's some of the karma that's happened to him. But he's still alive, and he's burning mad. And he's using every tactic he can to make sure that I'm surveilled and using the what is it called? The social engineering in the best ways that he can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for letting me talk again. Okay, great.
No problem. You appreciate it. Now, if you're watching us on BitChute or YouTube or archive.org, our 29th of January call, show number 44, will be discussing masers. Masers are described in a Stanford education website that I posted, and we'll talk in detail on how a maser works. Basically, it's a microwave amplified stimulating emission of radiation. So stimulating radiation using a microwave beam, and whenever I bring it up, my telepathy screams at me. So that'll be next week, along with the fact that over-the-counter antibiotics are going to be taken away, and you have to even get it for your animals. So all the farmers have to go to a doctor to get antibiotics after June 11th. So if you need any antibiotics, go buy them now while you can over the counter. I suggest it because you'll need it in case the world goes to crap. And next, of course, we'll be discussing on the 29th the U.S. Freedom Act, which came out in 2015 to replace the Patriot Act. And of course, this is a kinder, gentler type of act. So we'll be discussing that on the show. And then the San Francisco homeless crisis, and there's a citizen that does videos, and it's very compelling. So that'll be next week on TargetedWest.com.
Chris?
Come on in.
Okay, I just want to take a minute to share a little something uplifting that I just found for folks if people want something positive to check out on YouTube.
We do. Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, I just found it, and it's a Beatles song, the one called All You Need Is Love, in 156 countries, sung in 156 countries, so it's a really cool video. It's one of the nicest things I've found in a long time. So there you go, people. Enjoy.
Because that's what we're lacking in this world is
really
love.
Wonderful. 156 countries.
That is incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is, you know.
So
anyway,
how are you doing?
I'm hanging in like everybody else.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, take care.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody want to get on the recording and say a couple words? We've got about 7 minutes left of the recording.
I wondered if you would just quickly summarize the Project Artichoke.
You know what? I read all about MK Ultra, and Project Artichoke was the program before MK Ultra, and it had to do with making people into Manchurian candidates or remotely influence people or influencing people through disassociation and fragmenting their minds. So that's what it was about, and about, you know, childhood trauma. Now they can turn you into basically a robot or a presidential model, like Kathy O'Brien was turned into, like, and her daughter too. Did that help?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Thank
I put no worries. I put the article on TI Club 3 on my Twitter for you to check out. So if you want to read more about it, I can go into more detail in the next episode too. So it's all good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it is the year of the rabbit, and I'm a bunny. Yeah, come on in.
When she mentioned that, I looked it up, and this says, now this is a Wikipedia, Project Artichoke was a CIA project that researched interrogation methods. Yeah, that's kind of. See, I didn't hear the early part of your call. And then it was preceded by Project Bluebird. Artichoke officially arose in 1951 and was operated by CIA's Office of Scientific Intelligence. Okay. The primary goal of Project Artichoke was to determine whether a person could be involuntarily made to perform an act of attempted assassination. The project also studied hypnosis, forced morphine addiction, and subsequent forced withdrawal, and the use of other chemicals, including LSD, to produce amnesia and other vulnerable states in subjects. And that's it. That was on Wikipedia.
That was awesome. Thank you. Go ahead.
Do you know when MK Ultra was created?
I think 53. Go ahead.
No.
I believe it started in 1953 after Bluebird and Artichoke. It was 51. So, and then you remember OSS turned into the CIA all around that time, at the same time. So they had to have projects.
Okay. One of the people that was my friend, who I later realized was involved, always was eating artichokes. I think it's weird.
That is weird. Maybe they're hinting to you.
I think probably. So what year was Artichoke formed?
About 51.
51. Okay. Thank you.
And you're right. It said MK Ultra started in 53.
And when was Artichoke?
Started
51?
in 53. 53. 51 was
Artichoke or MK?
Was Artichoke. MK Ultra was 53. Sorry. I'm getting my words mixed up. And it's not.
And Artichoke was 51?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that correlate with the age of the... I'm assuming the person that was doing this to you is older, so you're probably trying to figure out their age and such in regards to that, I see.
And just the timeline and correlation, yeah.
Right. Okay, well, we're glad we helped you with that, and that'll be on the recording for everybody to be able to get help if they need it.
I got a question.
Come on in.
Hi. I'm wondering when did the practice of synthetic hypnosis start?
Well, that was Jose Delgado's dream, was to hypnotize everyone, to socially engineer them. Hypnotizing's been around for a long time, but synthetic, the ability to do it remotely, I know they could do it through the television because of the frequency the TV puts your brainwave. So probably around the same time, maybe the 50s. Now that's a guess. I have no background to back that up with, so I'm going to guess 50s.
Yeah. Well, I have evidence that it was used on me more than once back in the 70s, early 70s. So
now,
that makes sense.
What's the difference between synthetic versus regular hypnosis? Because
you go to a stage show, and these hypnotists come out and say, "I'm going to hypnotize the whole crowd." That's overt. I guess maybe a better word for is covert hypnosis, or
covert would be the TV
manipulation.
If he says he's going to, so they and he announced it, I don't see how that could be covert.
Yeah, that's
Right.
regular. But
Yeah.
if they're doing
Yeah,
it through the
that's
TV, that's maybe synthetic.
That's always been my guess.
Well, I
Well,
think
anyway, folks, let me take a moment here and turn the recording off. Thank you for watching this video. We'll be back next week. Thank you for watching.